We are tonight investigating claims of a cover-up involving one Senate Democrat after the deaths of 3 patients at a VA hospital. Senator Tammy Baldwin learned of the allegations that the patients were being over-medicated back in August, but reportedly failed to do anything until several months later. Now she has retained a lawyer after questions were raised about not only her response, but whether she tried to cover it up. Mike Tobin has the background on this for us from Chicago.
Martha, staff believe that powerful drugs were overprescribed at this VA in Wisconsin. The Office of the Inspector General concluded in a report that an unusually high number of opioids were prescribed at this facility. The practice wasn't stopped, and veterans paid the price. U.S. Marine veteran Jason Simkoski went to the Tomah VA to be treated for drug addiction. In August of 2014, his father visited and found Jason in a drug-induced stupor. His father complained to the staff, but later that day, Jason died. The autopsy determined his death was caused by the combination of 15 drugs in his system.
The part I regret is leaving him there. I didn't realize that he was going to pass away. You know, I never thought he was that bad. I mean, he was just in a mental health floor, you know, getting his medication adjusted, and you know, I wish I would have never left him that day.
Ryan Honnell, a former secretary at the VA, says the hospital had the nickname Candyland because everyone knew drugs were overprescribed, but the staff was afraid to speak up.
It was well known within the Tomah facility, if you raise issues, you will find your way out of the facility.
Honnell reached out to elected officials in Wisconsin, but a lot of attention is now focused on the Democratic U.S. Senator out of Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin, because her office received the OIG report, and according to Honnell, did not immediately take action.
And thanks to
Senator Baldwin's office says she only received the report in August of 2014, right about the time Simkoski died. And her office points to a chain of letters she sent inside the VA as action she took. However, Senator Baldwin only reached out to the secretary of the VA last month and asked the Attorney General to intervene this month. Martha, back to you.
All right, thanks to Mike Tobin. Also with us now, Wisconsin Republican Sean Duffy, member of the House Financial Services Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations. He is one of the lawmakers who called for this field hearing into Senator Baldwin. Mr. Duffy, Representative Duffy, good to have you here tonight. You know, what do you think she's guilty of here? I mean, she says that her office sent back letters, but the whistleblower basically said that they reached out several times, that it took from summer until really January to get any kind of action on these 3 people's loss of life.
So, Martha, this is an incredibly sad story that continues the chain reaction of stories that have come out about mismanagement of our Wisconsin and national VA system. So a year ago, actually, in March of last year, constituents had reached out to Senator Baldwin to let her know there were problems at the VA. And she did receive the report in the fall, and she didn't do anything. And that could have been an honest mistake, but she hasn't talked about that. The real issue here, Martha, is the fact that Senator Baldwin fired the staffer that was working on this case and then tried to use taxpayer money as hush money for that staffer so she wouldn't talk about what happened. And what's happening here in this story is that the focus and the cover-up is on Tammy Baldwin instead of focusing on what's going on in the Wisconsin VA. I mean, we've had several veterans die. You mentioned that the Tomah VA was referred to as Candyman. Yeah. The lead doctor who was prescribing these drugs, he was referred to as the Candy Man. And this information was brought out, and no one did anything until it was made public by a media report, especially Senator Baldwin.
That is the responsibility of representatives. I mean, that is part of their job. When things are brought to their attention, they have a responsibility to follow up on it. And this other part of the story, as you just mentioned, is very strange. You know, in what way did she try to, how did she try to use taxpayer money to hush this woman up? Quickly, if you can.
Well, she offered a severance package with taxpayer money and made a requirement that she not talk about the case. So that's what she did. And the problem here is she's not telling us what she knew and when she knew it, and which has made this scandal that much bigger than just the significant deaths of our men and women who raised their hand to serve the country.
No, doesn't sound like this one's going away. We'll stay on it. Thank you very much, Representative.